Good evening and welcome, everyone. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm pleased to welcome you to tonight's July 8th, 2026 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. I call this meeting to order. I'll ask everyone to please rise if you're physically able to do so, or rise in spirit. We'll start with a pledge to the flag. I'll ask Councilmember Warner to lead us tonight, please.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In just a couple minutes, we'll begin the open forum portion of the meeting. The open forum is the opportunity for members of the public to share their comments with the town board. Just a little heads up, if you are live streaming us on YouTube, you'll have to log into Teams to, if you wish to speak during the open forum or during the one public hearing that we have on the calendar tonight. The town webpage has detailed instructions for logging into our Teams meeting. You can get them at www.brightony.gov. As we have done for many years now, all Brighton Town Board meetings are accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community, thanks to our ASL interpreters. And tonight, we have Samantha Geffen and Jim Brown. Thank you both for being with us tonight. As a reminder, the agenda and all the supporting materials for tonight's meeting are outside on the table, and they're also available on the Brighton webpage. Again, the open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board at the start of our meeting concerning any matter relating to the town, whether or not it's an item on our agenda this evening. Have some quick instructions. Once I finish the instructions, we'll open the open forum. If you're here in the room and would like to speak during the open forum, I'll ask you to raise your hand. When I call on you, and I don't know all of your names, so I may point, but again, raise your hand. There are, and same thing goes if you're on Teams. You can use the raised hand function on Teams as well. If you're watching us on Teams, you'll have the opportunity to speak during the open forum. I do ask all speakers during the open forum, whether you are here in person or remotely, to please state your name and address before speaking. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and I will give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. We may not be able to answer questions that you may have, particularly if your questions relate to matters that are not on our agenda this evening. But our goal tonight and during the open forum we hold at every town board meeting is to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with the board and for us to be able to listen thoughtfully to your words. So please direct your remarks to the town board and not to the room or to other speakers. Please avoid personal attacks and outbursts of any kind, including but not limited to applause or booing or the like, during the open forum, out of respect for the speakers and out of respect for the time of everyone here tonight. Also, out of respect for others in the room, we do not allow signs to be displayed during town board meetings, including during the open forum. Persons who do not follow these rules will be warned. Repeated failure to follow these rules or failure to follow other directions from the chair may result in speaking privileges being ended early or early termination of the open forum. So with that, we will begin the open forum, and I see your hand up. Please come to the podium. Again, I will ask that you state your name and address.
Are the mics on? Can everyone hear me? My name is Nancy Howe. My address is, I'm in Irondequoit, 93 Montaigne Park. And I'm here today to address the slanderous letter that the town board received from the Jewish Federation of Rochester against Speak Up for Palestine. It's an organization that I'm involved with. I'm also a member of Jewish Voices for Peace and Rochester Witness for Palestine. But Speak Up for Palestine has been falsely accused of intimidation and anti-Semitism by the Jewish Federation and by Channel 8. The claim that our protests at 12 Corners are anti-Semitic or in any way threatening are false. The aim, we believe, of the Jewish Federation that lobbied the complaint on behalf of some members of the community is simply to shut down public criticism of Israeli war crimes and genocide, something that has been documented by numerous human rights organizations, genocide scholars, and the UN. The truth is, we have never blocked anyone, intimidated anyone, nor treated anyone with disrespect. Our group includes Jewish people, a Jewish doctor that has worked in Palestine, Veterans for Peace, Baptist ministers, and other humanitarian community members. Our goal is to increase awareness of the war crimes and genocide being perpetrated by Israel against our Palestinian brothers and sisters. The only disrespect and intimidation that has occurred at any of the protests has been against us, and it's rare, but never has it come from our members. The accusation that we timed our protests to interfere with families on their way to temple for Shabbat is incorrect. The other activist groups that we have joined with have been meeting on Fridays for the past year, and we are simply following their schedule. Secondly, there is no monopoly on Friday religious services in the town of Brighton. There are many Muslim families also that worship on Fridays at their mosque on Westfall Road. The accusations and insinuations perpetuated by the Jewish Federation and Channel 8 are meant to cast doubt on our intentions and to shut us down. These insinuations are dangerous and have the potential to incite anger and violence against us. For Palestinian community members whose families, culture, and historical lands are being eradicated, it is depraved to make them afraid to speak out for fear of being labeled anti-Semitic or hurting the feelings of those who continue to support Israel. We stand with our brothers and sisters and will continue to voice our objection to the atrocities. And we have First Amendment rights to do so that we expect the town of Brighton to uphold. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Julie?
So I think that,
Julie, if you would,
oh, yeah,
like to
sorry.
state your name and address, please.
Who am I? Okay. Julie Gelfand, and I live at 43 Kimbark Road in Brighton. I'm also a member of Jewish Voice for Peace. I have been active with them for years, and I feel like a lot of what I'm saying here probably would echo a lot of what they would like to say. So let me put on my glasses. I actually thought I only had 2 minutes, so I'm going to talk slower. What I want to talk about is we were here a couple of years ago talking and hearing a lot of people in the town talk about their concerns about protesters at 12 Corners. And there were various rules and regulations that came from that. And so 2 years later, here's my response to what's going on now. Regarding the current Palestinian rallies that are not every week at 12 Corners, the CEO of the Jewish Federation, new person, incorrectly stated that the Palestinian protesters at 12 Corners were violating town code. Well, after having watched all of the hearings and read the code very thoroughly, I know there is a valid permit for a weekly rally, and the Palestinian protesters have been welcome to join. So they are absolutely not violating the town code. out of respect, they have opted to set up on the sidewalk across the street where no permit is required anyway, because there's no permit required on the sidewalk. So what has occurred, however? Intimidation and harassment. The Jewish Federations of North America, their focus is to combat anti-Israel bias. JFED has a long history of manipulating the public dialogue regarding that in this town. As they did this week, that involved sending out public letters warning of the dangers to the Jewish community, which resulted in outside agitators harassing the Palestinian protesters who ended up receiving the blame. The Jewish community is not monolithic. Today, national polling data just came out from an organization called AP-NORC, N-O-R-C. And what it said was among Americans who identify as Jews, about half say that the Israelis' ongoing military operations in Gaza are unjustified. About a quarter believe that Israel has committed genocide. Among secular Jews, of which I'm one, 74% deny emotional attachment to Israel. Yet, JFED claims that they speak for all of us. As a Jew in Brighton, they don't speak for me. So, also, in the AP-NORC research today released, 4 in 10 Jews said they disagree with family members about something related to Israel. 3 in 10 say they've stopped talking to someone because of something that concerned Israel. Families, friends, and whole communities are being split apart over this issue. I don't think that that's the intention that JFED, as a speaker for the Jewish community, should be doing. There are members of JFED and our synagogues who are confused and disenfranchised but are in fear of losing community. So they remain, they stay involved, but maybe they don't actually agree. Many may be tempted to cross that street and join protesters. And it's time we challenge our institutions and create new institutions, perhaps, where values are honored and respected. And if you're one of those people, it's time to get going. So.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Paul Flansburgh, and I'm from Henrietta, New York, 137 Valiant Drive, 14623. I wear a shirt and I stand with immigrants. Well, I stand with our Palestinian immigrants on Fridays. I know that I do so in solidarity with a lot of people who are in opposition to the craziness by our current president. And it's very important that we hear the Palestinian perspective of the craziness that's going on with our president, because he's not just dangerous to people south of our border. He's also dangerous to our Palestinian immigrants. We've all heard the phrase, think locally, think globally, and act locally. So I stand with our Palestinian immigrants in my local action of thinking globally. I also have heard rumors about people feeling unsafe, and I got to say that I feel very safe with our Palestinian immigrants. So I don't think there's any merit in people feeling unsafe around them. I also can speak with some appreciation for the Brighton police, who, when they do come around, don't seem to validate any fear or concern about our actions there. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, in the back row, please.
Hi, my name is Rachel Rosner. I want to swing the conversation so far back around to something that our town board members can actually do something about. This is not the first time that I've stood in front of this group and talked about the permitting process, or lack thereof at the time, and sort of the process and procedure for allowed expression of your First Amendment rights in the town. When this was before the board in the first place, I remember cautioning you that there were no teeth to this. It's completely unenforceable as it stands, because if it is enforced, it will clearly be a violation of people's First Amendment rights in the town of Brighton. If people were being harassed, if people were being intimidated, if people were being hurt, there would be arrests. There would be police reports, but there aren't any of those things. It's been how many days since the letter came out? 2, 3? And another topic that I've come to talk in the open forum about in front of this group is transparency and accountability. If Monday the letter came out, it's Wednesday. There's been no response, no public response from the town. This has been covered in local news. It's been all over social media with hundreds and hundreds of comments. If the town and its elected officials stood behind the policy, the procedures, and the town code, you should say so. If you don't, say that and make a change. And my second point is also related to the transparency and accountability of this board, and it has to do with something that's on the docket for later, but not in a public hearing. Today, I heard about a $25,000 anonymous donation to the police department, and I have questions. A $20,000 anonymous donation to the police department that they're hoping to be used to renovate a break room. When they add it to the $20,000 from last year. I must tell you that I had a full gut of a very large bathroom in my house, plumbing, everything, down to the studs. And it did not cost $45,000. Refurbishment of a break room in the police department is not going to cost $45,000. That's number one. Number two, I feel it's the town government's obligation to make sure that there's not even the appearance of impropriety. I'm not suggesting that this donation is illegal in any way, but this is certainly not Dunkin' Donuts on Clean Sweep Day or sandwiches from Wegmans. This is a huge and anonymous donation going right into the budget of the town government. Feels and looks very icky, for lack of a better word. I suggest, as something for you to think about and for the police department to think about, open a nonprofit like the sheriff's department has, and have donations for the police department going there. And then that foundation can decide what to do with them. It makes it a whole lot less suspect, even if there's nothing wrong with what's going on. Making a huge donation to a police department or any government entity feels and looks wrong. It's our tax dollars that are supposed to be going to what's happening in the town. And any of the dollars that are coming in should be used to improve our lives as residents. And this is not going to do that. It will most certainly improve the lives of the employees of the Brighton Police Department. But if it's going into the town budget, it should benefit me as a resident and a taxpayer. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Kim Nelson. My address is 46 Benton Street, Rochester, New York, 14620. The first time that I protested for the Palestinian cause in Monroe County was just after the U.S. defeated the first vote for a ceasefire in the UN in 2023. In early 2024, we marched and protested in Brighton, calling attention to the new designation for children, WCNSF, Wounded Child, No Surviving Family. At any protest we have engaged in as Speak Up for Palestine, we always call out the violence being perpetrated on Palestinians by the State of Israel in Gaza, the West Bank, and now also on the Lebanese in Lebanon. Speak Up for Palestine has never itself been violent. We were invited to attend the Friday protests at 12 Corners by a friend in the organization Veterans for Peace. When we arrived, we were told to segregate ourselves away from them and their messaging. We believe that our message, that our tax dollars, every single person in this room's tax dollars, should, as U.S. citizens, should not be used to support a genocide in Palestine. During both a Democratic and now Republican administration, we believe that that fact does coincide with the messaging of the Unitarians and MCDC folks who are there with a permit to defend democracy and oppose Trump. Anti-Trump demonstrators often oppose the removal of scientific evidence and experts, yet some demonstrators at those protests deny the many experts who have accused Israel of genocide, including the human rights organizations within Israel. I had an excellent conversation with a Jewish couple a few weeks ago at this protest I was in 12 Corners at the time. A lot of times the Speak Up for Palestine protesters line up across the street where it seems people would prefer us, so it's almost as if there are now two groups. However, different members of us walk across and try and talk to different protesters who are there. We have literature with us that we try and share. We talk about the signage that we have. And with this particular Jewish couple, we were talking about a sign that I had, and we agreed that it could be argued that the U.S. military-industrial complex has used Israel as a bad guy and military base in the Middle East, and that these wars prop up the profits made by weapons manufacturers and surveillance technicians et al., such as L3 Harris across town, who has seen their contracts expand exponentially in the last 2 years. We protest to challenge the support for the State of Israel to continue to perpetrate extreme violence on all Palestinians, and we call out our grave concern for those like Dr. Hussam Abu Safia, who are endangered under the policies of Ben-Gvir, who oversees Israeli prisons. It's not my opinion, it's rather a fact that Ben-Gvir celebrated his birthday recently with a noose on his cake to celebrate the passage of a bill to execute Palestinian prisoners by hanging. He also wears a little pin that's a noose. I know from speaking with different people who were at 12 Corners that many people don't like to associate Ben-Gvir with Israel. They don't approve of him. However, I have to say that he is still the person creating policy. He is the person who is in charge of the prisons. And he recently was planning to come to the United States to talk to police. And he ended up not coming. There was a lot of protest against him coming to do that. So I think that whether, it's good that people don't agree with his policies, and the fact of the matter is the man that people are concerned with right now, the doctor, the pediatrician who is in Israeli prison, was recently seen by his lawyer who said he couldn't recognize him because he had been beaten about the face with a hammer. So it is with grave concern that we come to the streets. My heart has been broken over the past 2.5 years. I never in my life thought I would see anything like this. My mind has been shattered by what people are willing to do, and not just do, and then cover over for each other and continue to perpetrate. And it's with that that I can't be silent. I won't be silent. I can't live with myself and be silent over what I have seen. So it's with that great passion that we continue. We're not paid. This is all volunteer work. We show up
30 seconds,
ourselves. Thank you. Oh, I do have a slew of supporting documents for everything I talked about that I would love to add to the public record if that's admissible.
You would give them to the clerk?
This one doesn't have one.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Olivia Bailey. I live on Cook Street. It's off of Elmwood Ave, so it's about a 25-minute walk on a good day to 12 Corners, where these peaceful protests occur. And as a community member, I am appalled by this town and how it conducts itself in letting an entity like the Jewish Federation of Rochester create so much hate in such a short amount of time. I was raised in a mixed faith household where certain values were instilled within me. I would not spend my valuable free time between working 2 jobs in or around a group of people if there was a crumb of hatred or violence. These are great people. If anyone would come over to us to talk to us, listen to the beautiful Palestinian music playing, or just drove by, they would see how peaceful these protests are and how filled with compassion and advocacy. I was also raised to speak up for what is right and when I have the privilege to do so. So Fridays are just one of the many times I demonstrate my solidarity with Palestine, which the UN has confirmed to be undergoing a genocide, and many other countries and communities stand in solidarity with. We are a group of compassionate Jews, Muslim, Christians, atheists, agnostics, who have been victim to harassment from bigoted Zionists shouting profanities, threats of rape and harm, and much more since the Federation's inaccurate self-victimization online. But we remain steadfast in our vocal and visual support to end occupation, to end Zionism and genocide, because it is the right thing to do. We want divestment from an apartheid state. We want our tax dollars to support the people here within this community, not aid in a genocide. We want people to stop conflating Zionism with Judaism, and we want land back to all people under occupation from Turtle Island to Palestine. None of these goals are anti-Semitic, and I'm saddened by the way that word is thrown around in regards to our First Amendment rights to oppose this genocide. I will end saying never again means never again for anyone, and I will continue to speak up against the empire and those who disagree with that phrase. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I didn't know when I'm Robert McFarland. I live on at 204 Mount Vernon Avenue. Before I moved there, I was living in Brighton, New York. I was a guest of someone that gave me sanctuary when I badly needed it. He happened to be Jewish. I'm going to tie that into other comments. I wanted to pick up on what Olivia said about anti-Semitism and how deeply I resent anyone, anywhere, accusing me or any of my comrades of being anti-Semitic, because we oppose genocide, ethnic cleansing, and wars of aggression on the Lebanese people and the double strike attack on school children in Iran that had to be intentional. Those are crimes against humanity. Those are crimes. And I stand before you. This shirt was a gift. I'm not a veteran. This was a gift. I'm an associate member of Veterans of Peace, the Rochester chapter. This was gifted to me because the veterans in that organization, in that chapter, and other veterans know that part of my inspiration for becoming a felon, a convicted felon, in 1973 is because of my resistance to that illegal, immoral, and outrageously imperialist war of aggression on the people of Southeast Asia, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. And I was willing to go to prison to stand up for my beliefs. I was going to read a quote from Netanyahu. I think I'll do that anyway, and come back to my draft resistance and how I was able to avoid prison. How much time do I have?
3 minutes.
No, left.
You have about a minute and a half.
Okay. History proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan, because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. I know that's out of context. That's from Netanyahu. I stand in opposition to that law of the jungle, and I did so in 1970, 71, and 72, when I walked out of the induction center. I was put on trial in 1973, the summer, or I think it was August of 73, convicted in Judge Milton Pollock's court. And the only reason that I've had the quality of life that I've had, that I've been able to live, is because 4 Jewish men wrote letters to Judge Milton Pollock and told him, no way does Robert McFarland deserve to be imprisoned. And the probation officer, Jack Linden, who happened to be Jewish, told the judge, you need to sentence Robert McFarland as a youthful offender. It was a technicality because when I committed the supposed crime of resisting the war of aggression in Southeast Asia, I was still not the age of 20. So technically, I was a youthful offender. My record is sealed. I was able to teach history and social studies in New York City because of my last draft counselor, Rabbi Philip Goodman, his mentor, who happened to know Milton Pollock because Judge Milton Pollock was a member of his temple in Brooklyn. Rabbi Harry Halpern, he wrote to the judge. Rabbi Philip Goodman, my last draft counsel, wrote to the judge. Jack Linden, the probation officer, told the judge to sentence me as a youthful offender, seal my record. And
30 seconds, please.
last, but certainly not least, Mr. Benjamin Epstein. I knew him when I was 16 when I started cutting his lawn for he and his family. And he knew what I had done. He knew that I had resisted the draft by refusing to be drafted, and I was getting ready for sentencing. I was asking for reference letters, character reference letters, and we spoke, and it was the first time we had had an opportunity to speak in the 4 years that I knew him, just about 3 years that I knew him, 3.5 years. And he always wore long sleeves, even in the summer. And I never asked him about that. It was none of my business. And when we sat and talked, he told me how right after World War II, he lived in Israel. Shortly after World War II, he lived in Israel on the kibbutzim. He was a socialist, and at his late stage in life, he was still a committed socialist. And he said to me, I know about evil, and I know about resistance to evil, and I know that your resistance is to this evil that's happening now. And he said, I want to show you something. And he rolled up his sleeve. He had the numbers tattooed on his forearm. He was a survivor of the genocide. I will detest anyone that accuses me of being anti-Semitic for the stance that I'm taking, which is for liberation of Palestine from the genocide, the ethnic cleansing, and the torture and rape of Palestinian prisoners. And I could go on, but my time is up.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there? Yes, Robin.
Robin Wilt, 93 Fonthill Park. I want to stand in support of all the Speak Up for Palestine folks who are here this evening. I do feel that they were slandered in the media, and I do think that the town board should stand up for the policy that they passed when it is not being when it's not being violated. If the policy is not being violated, then you should counter the public statements that have been made saying that the policy has been violated. You know, it is incumbent upon the town to enforce the policy, and if the policy is being properly enforced, then you should say that, so that these good people are not targeted. But I also wanted to talk about the $25,000 anonymous donation that was made to the Brighton Police Department, and that Chief Cataldi has indicated that he would like to be applied towards updating the break room within the police department. While I think it's both laudable and a matter of distinction that a member or members of the community felt moved enough by the admirable service rendered by the police department that they should make such a generous gift, I think that it would diminish the gift if it were used in a way that could be easily budgeted for in the course of capital improvements made to town facilities, which I believe a break room is. I would suggest that a gift of this magnitude should be used to render even better service on behalf of the police department to the entire community. Hence, I hope that the chief and the town board will consider allocating the funds towards determining why there continues to be a racial disparity in the issuance of traffic citations in the town of Brighton by the Brighton Police Department. As we know, it was first noted in the 2022 annual Brighton Police Department report that there exists a vast racial disparity, particularly affecting African Americans, in the number of traffic citations issued. This disparity continued into 2023, but was not quite as pronounced, and I have not seen a public police department report since 2023, so I have no record of what the numbers are today. But it was long ago suggested by Chief Cataldi that the matter be studied to determine why any racial disparities exist and how to address them. And I want to remind the town board that this is not an academic matter. According to reports released by the Rochester and Monroe County Race Commission and the 7th Judicial District, the profound impact of traffic citations is well understood. So to subject certain racial ethnicities to disparate treatment and harm is unacceptable in a town that is supposedly committed to equal application of the law. I also want to remind the town board that this is not an issue where the veil of darkness applies, which the chief has talked about at times, as it would in disparities in pulling people over where BPD officers are not aware of the race of the individuals they are stopping. Officers know the race of the individuals to whom traffic tickets are issued. Traffic citations issued disparately by race represent an unequal application of the law in Brighton that cannot stand, and we owe it to our residents to determine the root cause and to amend the situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board during the open forum? Thank you then for speaking. Chris, can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Yes, Bill, I move that we approve tonight's agenda.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. The next matter is a continuation of the public hearing on a proposed amendment to the incentive zoning approval previously obtained by Brickstone for St. John's to permit them to install a sign larger than the sign that had originally been approved during the original incentive zoning approval. I believe notice had previously been given on this public hearing, and so I declare this public hearing to be open. Is there anyone here on, yes, okay. And no, I was going to, yes, yes. Come on up.
I'm surprised it was in the June 15th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone here on behalf of St. John's that wishes to make a statement?
Sorry, I didn't know if we were.
Oh, sure.
If you were
Yeah.
waiting for public.
No, we
we
can have you, and then we'll see about members of the,
Sorry,
public.
so Becky with SWBR, we are,
you know, okay, go ahead.
so we've been in front of you before, we received some comments, and we are back in front with, taking into consideration the comments, a revised design, and looking forward to hearing any additional feedback so we can continue hopefully through the process, so.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak, either from the organization or members of the public? We do have correspondence in the record from Commissioner of Public Works Glenn Layton, as well as a communication from SWBR. You have, obviously, we went through a previous sign for consideration. I don't know if the applicant wants to speak to, I understand you voluntarily went in and spoke with the Architectural Review Board about the proposed sign, and they had some input that would be in the record. I don't know if you want to address any of that tonight. You don't have to, but you certainly can.
So at this time, we don't really, we would not like to address those comments. We're trying to gather all the public feedback. But at the request of, I believe it was this board did request that we go to them first so you guys could consider their points before
I don't
making
think
a
we
decision.
requested that you do. There was some talk about changing the order and going in, and of course, those boards like this one, you know, you certainly had the right to go
Yep.
in to them, but the process of an incentive zoning amendment for a sign would be to have the town board
Correct,
approve the amendment, and
Correct.
then you go through the citizen board process.
correct. That's our understanding of the process as well, but now we do have their comments, so at this time, we would not like to address those. We'd like to hear if there's any public comments or any additional feedback so we
That's
can
fine.
move forward through the process.
That's fine. Is there anyone else here that would like to address this matter from the public? Obviously, the board will have an opportunity to discuss a resolution if there is a motion made. We have heard this is the second iteration on this particular sign, and of course, you had the opportunity to see a previous submission. As we've discussed, while they did voluntarily go through a citizen board, if the town board takes action tonight to approve this amendment, they will then go through more formally the sign review process of the town. So unless anyone on the board objects, I'm going to suggest that we close the public hearing and put a motion on the table and discuss that motion. And since I don't hear any objections, unless there's anyone else in the public, I do see someone's hand, but I believe you may have, you either wanted to talk about your communication, which we will be getting to momentarily, and if that wasn't what you wanted to talk about, you are certainly free to discuss the previous discussion that was in open forum. But I believe Ms. Kintman probably.
Thank you, Supervisor Whaley. I just would like to discuss the communication that I submitted.
Okay,
for the meeting.
that's fine. We will do that right after this public hearing. Thank you. And if there's no one either in the room or online that wants to comment on the public hearing, I declare this public hearing to be closed. And I would ask Council Member Corrado for a motion on this amendment.
Certainly. The matter of the request to amend the incentive zoning approval for Brickstone by St. John's for the installation of a sign larger than currently permitted, I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Bill, I took a look at the comments, and we appreciate them from the Architectural Review Board, their willingness to have some input, and they'll have more once, if in fact this is approved. It looks as if the incentive zoning proposal and approval was for a 40-square-foot sign on each side, and this is a 42.5 square foot on each side. I don't think that's a significant increase, although I'd like to hear from the applicant as to why the 5 square feet makes a difference. But nonetheless, no, for the most part, and there was some disagreement amongst the members of the Architectural Review Board, apparently. But they also did consistently, I believe, ask that the sign be set back a bit further, and I'd like to get, I'd like to hear from the applicant why that might have an impact on the usability of this sign or its impact.
Thank you. I'm Tony Zeklino, Vice President of Senior Housing for St. John's. So taking the feedback from, I think the question was the sign being set back. Our understanding for that was it was right up on, their view was it was right up on the sidewalk, which is in the
Right of way?
Right of way, correct. So they wanted it just moved back. So we really have no concerns or qualms with that. Understanding it gets shifted back. It does, the size of the sign then does become more important to us, just because if it is set back a little bit, every bit it's off the road and every time it shrinks a little bit, the distance of when you have a reaction time to it does shrink a little bit. SWBR obviously did some studies on the distance per size of the letterings as to how far out you can see the sign. So having it moved back, I think they were asking 10 feet really is not or whatever it was, is not a major concern to us. As long as the size can stay the same, we still feel we'll have visibility as you're coming up and down both sides of Elmwood Avenue.
I believe they also made some comment about the placement perhaps closer to the driveway entrance.
Yep. They did. They were, I think, as we've noticed, and we have some renderings, the sign is kind of located in front of where the restaurant is going to be. We still feel strongly, I've drove to St. John's for 14 years, and those brickstone roads, they come up on you very quickly. And our concern is the reaction time you will have. If you're coming up Elmwood Avenue from 12 Corners, the sign would have to be on the opposite side of the roadway, and by the time you see it, your reaction time is just not there to slow down. Having it more in the middle, we do feel really strongly that both entrances of our campus are used very frequently, and if you're coming from both directions, having it kind of in the middle, you have reaction time to hit the next entrance going both directions. If you see it coming up from 12 Corners, and by the time you can acknowledge it, you are passing the the far side entrance, you have the reaction time to get into the next entrance, or vice versa coming from the other direction. Our concern is just if it's sitting right on that one closest entrance, it's just the reaction time is going to be very hard to get into it. We do have wayfinding signage. If you pass the sign and pull in on the far entrance, which is more towards our residential bungalows and townhouses, we do have all wayfinding signage pointing towards our village square inside the campus on the property that does point, and we'll have the restaurant that direction as well.
And I believe what's being asked of the board here is, are we willing to approve an extra 5 square feet as far as the sign's concerned? But it's good you've got the benefit of the Architectural Review Board's thoughts, and you're going to be prepared perhaps to counter them. So, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Then on the motion to amend the incentive zoning approval to approve a larger sign than was originally included in the incentive zoning approval, Dan, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is communication. We have one item of communication here this evening. Chris, can I have a motion to receive and file that?
Bill, I move that we receive and file a communication from Ms. Citrin, I believe.
Can I have a second?
Second.
And Ms. Citrin is on the teams, and you all have a copy of her letter, which was also signed by a number of other community members. Would you like to, since we have you on Teams, would you like to say something?
Oh, thank you, Supervisor Mealy. You just cut out right at that moment when you said something.
Oh, I was just asking if you wanted to say anything.
Oh, with your permission, I'd be happy to read the letter aloud for those who are.
That's fine.
listening in on YouTube. Okay.
Sure.
So, okay, thank you, the board. Dear Supervisor Mealy and council members of the Brighton Town Board, we are writing to express our concern about the removal of the playground at Brighton Memorial Library and the failure to rebuild it within the promised timeframe. The library playground has long been a vital community asset. It provides a safe, accessible space for local children to play, socialize, and exercise. And I might just add right now, as we all know, screen time is one of those big dangers that we all think about for our children and grandchildren. And being able to get outside and socialize and meet other kids is such a wonderful opportunity. When the original structure was dismantled, residents were assured that a replacement would be constructed promptly. That the playground's original footprint is being repurposed into a parking lot is particularly frustrating. Because the new playground is slated for a different location on the property, the town board had a clear opportunity to construct the new play area before destroying the old one. Planning the project in this sequence would have ensured that our children experienced zero downtime. Instead, the communicated deadline has passed, the old playground is gone, and the new site remains empty. This lack of strategic planning impacts local families, especially since there is no other town playground within walking distance of this central neighborhood. For many residents who rely on this location, traveling to alternative parks requires driving, which defeats the purpose of a neighborhood accessible play space. As taxpayers and active community members, we seek full transparency regarding this project. Specifically, we respectfully request that the town board provide the following. First, the current status of playground equipment procurement and construction contracts. Second, the exact reasons for the project delays and for demolishing the old site before building its replacement. And third, a finalized binding timeline for when the new playground will be fully open to the public. Thank you for your time, attention, and continued service to our town. We look forward to your prompt response, tonight even, and to seeing a clear plan of action for our community children.
Thank you, Kaya, and thank you to everyone else who signed your letter. I appreciate you reaching out, and I understand your frustration. The playground and the other recreation facilities that will be located on the site, the playground, the renovated swimming pool, the new splash pad, the pavilion, are important amenities, and we recognize the importance of having them on the town hall campus where a large number of people can walk to them. I want to clarify that the construction hasn't, of the replacement of the playground hasn't necessarily been delayed. With the construction going on the site, the former playground was removed partly because of the construction, but also because we have been, over the last several years, replacing the playgrounds throughout the town's park system. I remember in 2020, at the height of the pandemic, being able to go out to Meridian Center for a new playground there, and we've done that with other playgrounds. Obviously, with the construction going on, it would not be prudent to operate an active playground on the site while there is construction going on. But it's also important, and one of the commitments we've made to the community is that there will be community input as to the specific siting of all of these recreational facilities. We're working with Labella Engineers on we have a contract with them to do design work relating to all of those recreational facilities. And we want to make sure that there is community input to that, and that they're placed in locations where there's good synergy between them. So that is something we will do. Labella, as part of their contract, is responsible for that community input as well as the actual design work. They are going to be doing that. We don't have a specific date yet, but I know we're going to try to get something set up soon, and not just for one meeting with the public, but for an opportunity for members of the community to give their input on all of these recreational facilities. We've received grant money from Senator Cooney for a new splash pad. We've received grant money from Assemblymember Clark, Sarah Clark, for the pool. We will be renovating and bringing up to modern standards the mechanical building on site, which will serve both the splash pad and the pool. And that's a process, getting that input, that we want to get started as soon as we can. So I do appreciate your outreach to having us, keep our attention on not only the pool, but all of those facilities. And by the way, all of those facilities will be designed to be accessible to all members of the public. Right now, the pool is quite old. It is not accessible to people with disabilities. The new updated pool will be, a splash pad is, and the playground will be. So
it's wonderful to hear that the facilities will be accessible, but are you saying that there is no design in place for the playground, that the original playground was destroyed without any replacement in mind?
We
have a design for it?
We certainly, it has been our intent from the very start that we would replace the playground, that we would renovate the pool, but that we would do so following a public input process and following the work that has to be done on site, and we will be doing that. Thank you for.
Okay. So if I may, I would just like to say respectfully, it's hard to understand how the town thought that it was prudent to first go ahead and destroy the playground instead of coming up with a plan from the get-go for how the entire town board or town campus would look. It doesn't, to me, it's hard to understand why the town would go ahead and destroy part of the campus without having any plan for how it was going to replace that part of the campus. It just is very, very difficult to understand what the board was thinking. So if you may, could we go through the three items on the
Well, I appreciate, and normally, during the open forum, I appreciate your letter. It's in here. I'm not in a position, I can't give you a finalized binding timeline. What I can tell you is what I have said. It is important that we have public input. It is important that during the period of construction, it would not be possible to have a playground or the other recreational facilities on the site. But it is an integral part of the project. It's something that we reviewed right from the very beginning through our comprehensive review of the site. But the urgency of the town hall project and really the failing status of the HVAC system there made it imperative that we begin construction as soon as we can. But we understand the concern. It continues to be a priority, and we will be doing that work just as soon as we possibly can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
And sir,
you.
I will just say respectfully, the explanation that it wouldn't be safe to have a playground in the area, it's hard to understand when those construction areas that are present there right now, not all of them are fenced off. They could be fenced off, and if they were, then I think it would be completely safe to have a playground nearby. But for instance, the playground, the new parking lot that's taking over a very large swath of the green space or the former green space, as of this past weekend, it was not fenced off. If it were fenced off, I think it would be entirely safe to have a playground nearby. And I don't know if any of the various boards that the town board consults has said, oh, this would be completely unsafe to have a playground nearby, or if this is just something that's a post hoc explanation that the town board is coming up with.
The site contractor is currently mobilizing. They've just mobilized. They're in the process of fencing in areas as needed on the site. And it would not be prudent to have recreational facilities on that site. But again, thank you for being here with us. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to thank the JCC. We had a real tough weather condition last week, a real heat wave, and partly because of the fact that we have the construction going on and access to water facilities in a heat wave, is so valuable. I reached out to call the executive director of the JCC, Mr. Vasquez, and we spoke on the phone Sunday night. Monday morning, he had already spoken with people in his organization. And before the end of the day, we had an arrangement in place where members of the Brighton community could use the water features and really all of the JCC features during the heat wave. So I want to thank the JCC for being so generous in making that opportunity available to members of the community. We'll now go to...
I have a question. You mentioned there's going to be a public forum. Are we going to be providing Labella with dates, or are they going to be providing us with dates?
It will be more than just a public forum. There will be a more comprehensive public input process that we will be working out, town staff in conjunction with Labella. And we'll make sure that the dates are dates that don't conflict with holidays or the like. But it is important. We do want to get that public input going as soon as we can. We've had discussions with Labella, and we will be working to get those dates and the entire process going as soon as we possibly can.
So is that in August, December 2027?
No, it won't be. No, Clara, it won't be December of 2027. It will be as soon as we can possibly get something going at a time that will allow us to get construction. We want those recreation features to be accessible to the community as quickly as we possibly can. Next, we have committee reports. Community Services Committee.
Community Services has not met since the last town board meeting. Our next meeting will be, let me just double check and make sure I've got the right date, Wednesday, July 15th at 10 a.m. In Brookside School. Public is welcome to attend.
Thank you. Finance and Administrative Services.
Yes, Finance and Administrative Services Committee met this past Wednesday, July 1st. Among the issues discussed was to update the lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management. This will be was approved in the 2026 capital improvement plan as well as this year's budget. We also discussed the purchase of a plow truck as well as loader for the highway department and a dump truck for the sewer district, and this would be bonds that would be issued together to save some in issuance fees. And lastly, of note was the capital budget item to approve Clover Street sidewalk project, and that would also include the grant award of $35,000. So the total would be not to exceed $155,000. The next meeting will be held on Wednesday, July 15th at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you. And I just want to back up real quickly because I don't think we voted on the motion to receive and file the item of communications. Is that correct, Dan? I think we...
Yeah, I guess maybe not. Councilmember Werner?
Thank you. The motion was made by Councilmember Werner, seconded by Councilmember Sanguinetti.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Okay, back to the agenda, Public Safety Committee.
The Public Safety, Councilmember Salzman is not here this evening, but there's not been a meeting since his last report, and the next meeting will be on July 14 at 8 o'clock a.m.
Thank you. Public Works.
Public Works will follow on that Public Safety meeting on July 14th. There's not been a meeting since our last report, but July 14th at 9 o'clock a.m.
Thank you. New business, reading and approval of claims. Clara.
Earlier today, I reviewed the claims totaling $817,364 with 89 cents. Let's see, notable claims include about $100,000 in payment of bonds, principal and interest for issuance, including the Highland Trail crossing, highway trucks, and road projects. And there's also payment for a Type 3 Chevrolet ambulance for Brighton Volunteer Ambulance of approximately $170,000. The claims appear to be in order, so I move for them to be approved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Thank you. Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. And as you referenced, the Enterprise Fleet Management, I'll let you make that motion as well.
Yep. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to enter into a lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management for the provision of a 2027 Ford Explorer for the Department of Public Works via COPU. I move for this resolution to be approved.
Can I have a second?
Yes. Second.
Glenn, anything you want to say about this vehicle or Earl, either one of you?
Oh, just that this purchase was approved in April, but the 2026 order bank had closed on this particular model. So the 2027 order bank is now open. So we get a year newer vehicle, and the difference over 4 years is $118. So it's essentially the same quote.
Yeah, I was really pleased to hear that. Now, this will be for the fire marshal, and what is the fire marshal's current vehicle? What will we be selling that, or?
There are a number of pool vehicles that are close to needing to be retired, so this will replace one of those. Okay. And we have one of the old retired police vehicles that we're going to transfer in. So our head mechanic will be looking at those vehicles and making a determination of which ones should be replaced.
Okay, so while we may not be selling the fire marshal's current vehicle, we will probably be
any
selling
of
a
those vehicles
vehicle.
that are retired will be sold at auction
Yeah.
for whatever we can get.
Yeah, okay, good. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris?
Bill, the next item is to approve the creation of a capital budget for the Highway Department's plow truck and backhoe loader purchase in an amount not to exceed $540,000.
Second.
Was that a motion?
I moved it. Good point. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Again, Earl, Glenn, I know this is really a finance.
Yes, on May 13th, the bond resolution was approved for the next couple items, and so the process now is to create these capital budgets for when the bond is sold.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Christine?
Yes, the next matter seeks to approve the creation of another capital budget for the sewer district's dump truck purchase in an amount not to exceed $290,000. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Earl, I know it'll be fairly similar, but
Yes, it's the same date of that bond resolution approval was this dump truck item for the sewer department, so this is just creating that capital budget.
thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. And Clara, the last one of those
Yeah.
three.
The next matter seeks to approve the creation of a capital budget for the Clover Street Sidewalk Project in an amount not to exceed $155,000. I move that we approve the resolution before us.
Second.
Earl, one more time.
As these three items are all part of that bond, this is the third and last capital budget related to that bond resolution.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris, the next item.
Bill, the next item is to accept an anonymous donation to the police department in an amount of $25,000 and to amend the budget to reflect that donation. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Chief?
Thank you, Bill. I apologize for the consternation that this has caused. I guess I'm old school, and I would just like to say that the person and the family that donated this money, the reason why they wanted to remain anonymous, two reasons, quite frankly, in my opinion. Number one, they were the victim of a crime, and they wanted their privacy. Number two, I think they were offering a very generous donation. And as was mentioned at our last finance meeting, Councilmember Sanguinetti so clearly pointed out that it is the highest form of almsgiving to remain anonymous. I understand. I know there were some questions brought up about we could put it in a capital improvement plan, et cetera. I'm very aware, as I receive your budget message every year, about the tax cap. And I really felt, and this is respecting the wishes of the donor, that it would benefit the members of the police department. what better way to benefit the members of the police department than to create a break room? Not remodel a break room, but to create a break room. Since 2015, in the 21st century policing that President Obama put out the committee on the task force, there was a lot of talk about health and wellness of police officers. This is going to give police officers a place to relax inside the police department, inside the safety of the police department, to enjoy maybe a hot meal in a microwave. Most of you have been inside the police department and you realize what our break room is now. It is about the size of a broom closet, if you want to call it a break room. It's been repurposed. So I want to respect the wishes of the donor, and I want to respect that they want to use this to benefit the members of the police department. That's it. Nothing more than that. And I would like to say thank you to them. I spoke to him earlier today. He was aware that it was in the media and there was a lot of speculation of what's going on. There's nothing nefarious behind donating money. As I hear you always say, sitting at these meetings, and we discuss about donations to the police department, people do not need to donate to the police department. That you are correct in that. But they do it out of the benefit and the goodness of their heart because of the good work of the men and women of this police department and the high level of service that they provide to this community. And they simply wanted to show their support. That's it. There's nothing more to it than that. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you, Chief. That was a very eloquent statement. Any further discussion on this matter?
I would like to underline the importance of protecting a donor's wishes. In philanthropy, when a generous member of the community comes forward to support an organization, it's incumbent on the receiving organization to, if the receiving organization is going to accept that donation, the receiving organization is obligated ethically to protect the donor's wishes if the donor chooses to be anonymous, and the organization is ethically obligated to use the dollars received, accepted from that donor in the manner that the donor intended. In this case, the donor wants to support the well-being of our police officers, and the chief, in saying that he would bring it to the town board for acceptance, has to remain obligated to that donor to protect the identity and to use those dollars for the intended purpose. And we're transparent in accepting this because here we are in a public meeting discussing the purpose, the background behind the gift, the reason for accepting it, and just the optics of the complicated optics of accepting an anonymous gift. The Council on Philanthropy, and I'm blanking for the moment on the official name, Society of Fundraising Professionals. It has changed a couple times over the years, but there is a bill of ethical responsibilities that those who work in philanthropy adhere to. And while the chief's primary job is not chief development officer of the Brighton Police Department, his ethics align exactly with the ethics of professional fundraisers. So I am fully comfortable in accepting this donation, and while I understand the curiosity that some of the public may have about the source and some of the consternation about the choice of use, there's nothing unethical, there's nothing underhanded. It is a very generous gift to the police department, and I trust it'll be well used.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Thank you to this generous donor and the family. Thank you, Chief, for a really thoughtful and your communication with them and their intent in working to benefit the men and women of the Brighton Police Department. We appreciate it. Thank you. I vote aye. Next matter, Chris.
Next item is to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Ravi Engineering for professional inspection services for the Town Hall renovation Phase 2 site work in an amount not to exceed $195,753.56. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Can I have a second?
Second.
We discussed this in the Finance Committee. The contract with Ravi Engineering is exactly as it's described for professional inspection services during the course of the site work of the Town Hall renovation project. It is included in the budget for that project. This is a very different inspection undertaking than the work that was done in the renovation of the Town Hall building. Obviously, when you're renovating an existing and old building and taking it down to the studs, you don't always know what you're going to find. And the inspection is really tough for that. This is an important project as well, given the drainage and other work that's going to be involved. And it's important that we put this contract into place so that we can proceed, continue to proceed during this construction season to complete this work on the project. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Nay.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Christine.
Yes, the last item on the agenda seeks to approve the standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
And this is in connection with the state retirement system. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Matters of the supervisor. We've talked about it before. In Rochester, we celebrate Pride really for 2 months. The country celebrates Pride in June. Rochester celebrates Pride as well in January, and there's some great history as to why that is the case. The town of Brighton has already held a great Pride ceremony at the farmers market, but we've got 2 more activities this month. This coming Friday, July 10th, we will be holding a celebration here in Town Hall, and we're going to be honoring Eric Vaughn Johnson. Eric is the executive director of OFC Creations Theater. OFC operates the OFC Theater in the Winton Place Plaza, as well as the Old Farm Cafe in the Winton Place Plaza. As part of that ceremony, not only will we be recognizing Eric, but we will also be enjoying an excerpt from an OFC theater production. And OFC is much larger than that one theater. They also conduct youth theater activities in various communities, and I'm very fortunate to be an indirect beneficiary of that. I have a granddaughter who is a very active participant in OFC's theater work up in Webster. So it's wonderful watching what they do with with students and their productions that they do here in Winton Place, particularly their Broadway and Brighton series. It's a great thing. So I want to invite everybody to that. But also, the town of Brighton, as we have done now for many years, will be marching in the Pride Parade on July 18th. And until recently, I've been able to say that the town of Brighton is the only town that marches in the Pride Parade. But I've learned that this year, the town of Webster, Supervisor Sheldon, is also leading a group from Webster in the parade. But the town of Brighton has been doing it for many years. We invite elected officials, our town staff, our volunteers, families, friends, contractors. Steve, come march with us. Sunday, July 18th. If you are planning on marching, please reach out. I know elected officials and staff have been invited, and you're going to get another reminder, but please let our Chief Diversity Officer, Dr. Miriam Moore, know so she can make sure we get T-shirts in the right size for everybody. So happy Pride, Brighton, happy Pride. Just a quick reminder, because, in light of all the storms that we have been having, we've gotten a lot of calls about a number of things, trees that are, in rough shape or that have come down, piles of lawn and garden debris that have been out a little bit longer because our highway crews have been working very hard in storm relief. And I want to remind the community that I think one of the most valuable features of the town's webpage is something called Request Tracker. Request Tracker is a function on the webpage that allows people to submit a request or a complaint. Sometimes there's a fine line between the two, in various different categories. A lot of them are highway related, but not all of them. It can be potholes, could be a dead animal in the road. It could be, concerned about long grass on a property or some other potential code violation. The Request Tracker page gives you a number of options to specify the nature of the inquiry that you want to make. And I think it works really well. The website is brightonny.gov/request tracker. That's all one word, request tracker. And of course, the Highway Department for highway issues also maintains their 24/7 phone line, 784-5280. I would note that neither one of those is something you should use in the case of an emergency. If you have, for example, a public safety emergency, please call 911. But that Request Tracker site and the phone number really get you quick access to a number of different services from the town. That's all I have tonight. Matters of the attorney to the town.
Thank you, Supervisor. I have nothing to report. I would request an executive session for 2 matters leading to the appointment of particular people, and I would also request a third matter regarding executive session to discuss pending litigation, Kern versus the town of Brighton.
Thank you. Matters of the town clerk.
Nothing this evening.
Matters of the town board.
Just one small reminder that Parks and Recreation are going gangbusters with activities, including the second in the series of community bike rides that will take place this Friday, the 10th. Riders are invited to meet up at Meridian Center at 6:30, and kickstands up by 7 p.m. Looks like the weather should be good, so if you have a bicycle and you have a helmet and you want to check out Brighton on 2 wheels, come join us for this free activity. Sign up at Brighton, New York, or brightonny.gov/REC to fill out all the waivers, but come out for a fun ride. And I should I would be remiss if I did not thank Councilmember Saltzman in his absence and County Legislator Sue Hughes-Smith for their support of this ride and the final ride of the season. They teamed up to make sure we can have these rides. So, that is
Thank you. Is there a specific spot in Meridian Center that you're going to be
That is a
meeting?
good, probably relatively near the parking lot. as
Yeah,
it
sort of
abuts
where the sidewalk,
Yes.
the park sidewalk trail.
Yes, and the ride does
hits the
start on the trail connector that brings you up to the canal.
Canal
path.
trail.
So,
Okay, all right.
yeah, look for the very happy, noisy riders, and you can't miss us.
And that's close to the playground in Meridian
Yes.
Center Park.
Yes.
Is another good landmark.
Exactly. And so by clarifying this, am I to understand that you'll be joining us?
I'm
on Friday?
just getting relevant information. Thank you.
Someday it's going to happen.
And speaking of other fun events, we did mention the Bands at Buckland concert series, which kicked off last night on a perfect night with the Brighton Symphony Orchestra, and the next 5 Tuesdays, the concerts will be out in the shelter in Buckland Park. Different genres, but always fun. Anything further? I will thank our ASL interpreters, as always. We really appreciate the time and attention you give to our deaf and hard of hearing community. Thank you. If there is nothing further, I'll note that our next meeting will be 2 weeks from tonight, Wednesday, July 22nd, here at 7 p.m. at SUNY Empire State University, 680 Westfall Road. Can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment of particular people and the litigation matter, the Kern lawsuit?
Bill, I move that we go into executive session to discuss the employment of particular persons and also to discuss litigation matters.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Deanne, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Thank you again, everybody, and I do not anticipate coming back out into open session after the executive session, so we'll see you in 2 weeks, July 22nd. Have a great evening, everyone.